the thing to keep in mind is that everything has its own rules and its own way of being treated. A video game is not a comic book. With a comic book, you're reading a story exactly the way the writer wrote it, and you're following it along. The beautiful thing about a video game is, in a sense, you're in control. You're really the writer. You've got those characters under your fingertips, and you make them do what you want them to do, and you make them do it the way you want them to do it. And that makes it so different than just reading a story. This makes you an active participant in whatever the story is. Just as with a comic book, you have to turn each page and you have to read the panels in the correct order. With a video game, you've got to follow the rules of the game. If a character isn't able to fly, you can't make him fly. You're bound by whatever the creator has given you to work with, the game creator. Mm-hmm. But you still have so many options. You can concentrate on this character or that character. You can have a move in this direction or that direction, or use this weapon or try for another weapon or whatever. You have many options, but by the same token, you can't go completely wild. You still have to follow whatever the rules are that were set up. Movies and comic books have that in common. They're both linear ways of telling a story. It's funny, excuse me, years ago I met Steven Spielberg. I'm a big name dropper, by the way. And I remember he said to me, you know, Stan, you and I do pretty much the same thing, except my pictures move. I never forgot that. Yeah. But that's the truth. I mean, a movie is really a comic book where the pictures move, and of course you can hear the voices. But a video game is different than both of them, because neither in a movie nor a comic book do you have any control over what's happening. You're simply viewing events. In a video game, you have a lot more to say about what happens. You're not just a passive viewer. Mm-hmm. I hope so. I think that you're quite right. Most of the video games are bought by males right now. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really up to the video game manufacturers and creators to do what they can to get girls interested also. But you see, most video games are action-packed. And action stories are usually preferred by males. Girls usually go for things that are quieter and more romantic. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there are exceptions, but in general, as long as the video games deal with superheroes and as much action as can be packed into them, then I think they've got to understand that the audience is going to be mostly a male audience. Some people don't understand that. Some people are, you might say, they're purists. Mm-hmm. If a character looks a certain way in a comic book, they want that character to look exactly the same way in a movie or in a video game. And if a character does certain things, they want him to do exactly those things in a movie or a video game. But whether it's a movie or a video game, you have to make little changes. In a movie, you're projecting the character on a giant-sized screen, and sometimes what looks okay in a comic book panel wouldn't look good on a big screen. And the same with a video game. Sometimes, in order to move the character the way you want him to be moved, you have to make certain adjustments in the way he looks. And sometimes you just have to take certain liberties with the character or the characters in order to make the game more interesting. So all you can do with a movie or a video game is try to be true to the spirit of what the character is supposed to be. You try to be faithful to the integrity of the character I don't know if Doctor Strange has been in a game yet. I don't recall seeing him. I think he'd be interesting because he has a different type of power. Mm-hmm. So he'd be one that I'd think would be great to see.